Alright guys, this is Kill 2 and T-Days, bringing you a match between Atlas Alliance and Systematic Chaos. These teams are awesome. The ships they fielded for Systematic Chaos, for Atlas Alliance, we've got a Guardian, 2 Harbingers, 2 Hurricanes, 1 Myrmidon, 1 Brutix, 2 Jaguar, 1 Vengeance.
And for Systematic Chaos we have 2 Nightmare, 2 Golem, Scimitar, 2 Crow and a Cormorant, which looks suspiciously similar to a setup we saw last week.
Yeah, copying the Goon setup. Okay, we got the match underway already. This one started quick because we're a tiny bit behind from that last long match. Looks like Systematic Chaos shooting at a Brutix for Atlas Alliance first. For some reason, the Atlas team warped in at range from the beacon. They're at about 35-degree angle to the Systematic Chaos team, but they're at a good distance, so it'll take a second before the damage really gets heavy here.
And the Atlas Guardian is already in armour, as the Systematic Chaos team are definitely going to have a go at taking him down first. That first Brutix they were shooting at no longer taking any damage, but it does look like the Guardian is holding fairly stationary at about 60% armour remaining.
And I see a lot of offensive E-War coming from the Atlas team. I can't tell if they're tracking disruptors or sensor dampeners. Tracking disruptors would make more sense, but I can't tell from here. And the Systematic Chaos team running a lot of shield maintenance bots between their battleships. So it may be hard to break those tanks despite the immense amount of DPS they're able to put out. I'm thinking now that they might be damps. It looks like Atlas is continuing to hold range, and it looks like Systematic Chaos has got some of those Nightmares shooting Scorch at that Guardian, but I don't see any missiles coming out of the Golems at all, so maybe the Golems are not able to get locks. That Guardian's holding at around 50-60% armor now. I don't know if they got some the targeting turned off, but his armor's holding a lot more steady now than it did when they first turned the damage on.
Yeah, the Guardian is actually repping back now quite happily. He's now got about 80% armour left. Various frigates for Systematic Chaos, 2 of their Crows and the Cormorant Destroyer, taking some damage and then being repped straight back up again. It looks like Systematic Chaos are doing cap exchange between themselves to keep their local tanks running and keep them firing as well. Not able to do very much damage to that Guardian at the moment. They briefly switched to one of the Harbingers and the Vengeance. There's some damage on those. Guardian taking a little bit of damage again, but nothing much moving as we lose the first Crow for Systematic Chaos.
Now if the Atlas team now put their damage on the Scimitar for Systematic Chaos, which is struggling to tank it. He's at 50% shields already, big chunks going back up and then big chunks going down, so it looked like a good idea to switch damage to him from whatever was on before. He's about to enter armor. It looks like still Atlas spread out at a pretty decent range. I'm going to try and get ammo types and gun types to see why they're able to do that. It's probably long range setups. That Scimitar now, 40% armor, hurting pretty bad, while the Atlas team not taking any real significant damage at all at this point.
Yeah, Scimitar's not moving particularly quickly at the moment. I think he's got tackled by one of these assault frigates for Atlas. Certainly hurting. His shields are just regenerating a tiny bit at a time, and there's a lot of bleed through into armour. So every time he gets a rep cycle in of shields, they then push straight through it again into armour, and he's nearly completely out of armour. This is going to be a big problem for this team as they lose that Scimitar.
Yeah, that's a real big deal. Now one of the Atlas Harbingers starting to take a lot of damage. There was one Atlas Harbinger that was a little closer than the rest to the Systematic Chaos team. He's on his way back out now, but he is taking a lot of damage. He's at about 50% armor. He looks like he's slowing down, though. He might be okay if the Guardian can get to him pretty soon here. These Atlas Hurricanes are not long range. They're definitely autocannons. And so I think they're just kind of trying to do an old Nano Gang sort of thing here, something from other tournaments, run damps, orbit 20k-ish, and put as much damage on as you can from that range, kind of a mid-range setup, which I really like mid-range PvP and EVE, so it's good to see that. Harbinger now for Atlas, continuing to take damage, about 40% armor, and he's going just further and further away from the Systematic Chaos DPS.
It does seem that they're pulling range to keep their ships alive, and they must be doing some sort of damping. The Cormorant for Systematic Chaos has got himself into a bit of trouble as well. He's run out of armour into structure and will pop any moment. There he goes. So we have on the field for Atlas 2 Hurricane, 2 Harbinger, although one is about to go, I think. He's now in structure. Guardian, Brutix, Myrmidon, Jag, Vengeance, another Jag. And for Systematic Chaos we have the 2 Nightmares, 2 Golems and the Crow. That Harbinger for Atlas now in structure, about 50% structure now.
This systematic chaos setup is interesting. It looks like they copied the goon setup, but I'm looking at it now and they did a lot of things different. That Harbinger hanging around in structure, and it looks like Atlas was able to tackle that last crow for systematic chaos. He's in structure now. He'll be down in any second. There he goes. And the Harbinger now for Atlas, deep structure. Damage has slowed again a little bit, but I think they're going to finish him off. Another volley of missiles there on the way. He's just got a tiny inch of structure left. He's getting reps from the Guardian, but not very heavy. Little tiny ticks of armor coming back and then dropping again. The things that the Systematic Chaos has done different, these Golems and Nightmares do not move very fast. The Goon ones moved extremely quickly. And they also don't have neutralizers. I don't think they're spending most of their utility highs running cap transfer to each other. So not as offensive of a setup as the Goons were, even though the ships are the same type.
Yeah, that Harbinger is still holding in. He's been refusing to die, as one of the Hurricanes is in half armor. So it looks like the Harbinger's not able. Well, he's managed to get away from the damage to some degree because he's not gone down yet. Smart bomb's gone off and some drones have gone pop around one of these golems. The Hurricane for Atlas, though, now below 50% as another smart bomb goes off from, I think it was one of the golems, not the Nightmare, but all the drones that were around him have now gone pop.
Yeah, also these golems are using cruise missiles, not torpedoes, which is another thing the Goons did different. If I said Goons twice, Systematic Chaos, golems using cruise, not torps. So a couple interesting tweaks. Now a Hurricane for Atlas taking a lot of damage really quickly. He's in structure now as well. It looks like that Harb is clear and safe. He's starting to regen his shields, but that Hurricane died. So it looks like they were being safe, trying to orbit for a while out at 20k and use those damps or tracking disruptors, whichever it was, and decided that now they might as well get as close as they can because they need the points. They need to break this Systematic Chaos tank. So now the Hurricane, Brutix, and the rest of some of the small ships for Atlas sitting right on top of this Systematic Chaos turtle tank, and it cost them a Hurricane for sure, but it may earn them some kills. One of the Nightmares now about to enter armor, and he's definitely shield tanked, so that could be really important.
I've just seen the Harbinger is pulling back some armour now, so obviously the Guardian is finally able to come into play for Atlas. He's having his some reps put on there, not pulling back particularly quickly. Maybe he started to take damage again. Meanwhile, one of those Nightmares is into armour in a big way and will be dropping very shortly for Systematic Chaos.
Yeah, and this tank will crumble progressively faster as they start to lose those ships because they are running cap transfer, all four of them. They are using shield repair bots, which will go inactive as the ships start to die. A Brutix now for Atlas, their only Brutix at about half armor. He's the next target called for those Nightmares and Golems. There goes that first Nightmare for Systematic Chaos, a really important kill. So one Nightmare down. The second Nightmare taking a lot of damage as well. He's already at about a third shield remaining. He was taking damage at the same time as the other one. I don't really know why, but now he's the primary and he's going down pretty fast.
Yeah, we're getting reports that the Guardian actually has a gun on it, of all things, and doesn't really seem to be repping particularly quickly. I don't know whether they're using undersized reps on it or something, but that Harbinger is not really taking much repping, and the Brutix isn't really being repped either. So it looks like their Atlas are going to lose one of their Brutix at some point shortly, because he's dipping into structure.
On TQ, I put lasers on my Guardian, but yeah, that Brutix is hurting pretty bad. He's into structure, but holding it up okay. That Harb that had taken a lot of damage for Atlas earlier has gotten back about a third of his armor. Still just a sliver of structure left for him. And that Nightmare now for Systematic Chaos going down. He is in structure and will not be recovering. So as he goes down, which should be in the next 2 seconds, we're left with a Guardian, 2 Harbingers, 1 Hurricane, 1 Myrmidon, 1 Brutix, 2 Jaguars, and 1 Vengeance still for Atlas on the field, and just the 2 Golems now. We just lost the Nightmare, so only 2 Golems left for Systematic Chaos.
Yeah, first of those Golems now is shields melting in a very short order. Obviously, these Harbingers cutting out quite a bit of damage, and it does look like if things go the way they are at the moment, we're going to end the match without going to time. Both those Golems are going to go down, and Atlas are going to score the full 125 points.
Yeah, which is exactly what they need. They had 21 points coming into this match. If they take the full 125, that puts them at what? 146, which is really, really close to the line, so a good job by them. That Harb now, that has just a tiny bit of structure left, starting to take damage again as the first Golem for Systematic Chaos also is about to die. So Atlas may lose that Harb. There goes the Golem. Only one Golem left now for Systematic Chaos. There's still that Harb. I don't know if they'll be able to finish him off, but frankly it doesn't make any difference at all. At this point, Systematic Chaos not going to be able to get enough points to make a difference in their tournament, and I think regardless of whether or not the Harp goes down, Atlas will be able to finish off that other Golem. By himself, he's not got a great tank. He's already getting into armor.
Yeah, he's repping furiously, but it's not going to be enough. He could overload everything. It's not going to help now. There's just too much DPS coming in. He is still trying to kill the Harbinger, which is managing to keep getting rep cycles in from the Guardian. It's going to survive to the end of the match, I think. The Golem, though, is not going to survive to the end of the match. He's going to be dying any moment now. A couple of rep cycles just delaying the inevitable. He's really trying to get that Harbinger down for pride now, and he does. Well played. So as the Golem goes down, he did take out that Harbinger. And with that, we have a victory for Atlas, clearing the Systematic Chaos team completely, and back to Soundwave.